Well, it was 5 years ago that a Canberra film crew and cast released Me and My Mates versus the Zombie Apocalypse. It was a little bit prophetic, with the story centred on mates bunkered down indoors against the world outside. Now, a screening this week will celebrate the film's 5th anniversary, as well as help reinvigorate the local cinema-going scene. With you right now is the movie's co-producer, Daniel Sanguineti, and he's here to tell us more. Daniel, welcome to Afternoons on ABC Radio Canberra. Does it feel like 5 years ago?
Hi, Paula. Yeah, it doesn't, but at the same time, this year has felt like 5 to 10 years added on top. So, yeah. But I'm really excited to talk to you about the film. I know you love zombies. I know we've talked about zombies on your show before.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so it's great to be able to have this new opportunity to see a film that we produced 5 years ago.
So, of all the film genres, what got you into a zombie comedy?
Well, it wasn't, from my perspective, it wasn't because it had to be a zombie, film. This was the idea that young writer-director Declan Shrub came up to me and said, hey, look, I know you've done horror. I know you're a horror filmmaker. What about this idea? You've not done a comedy yet. And how does it sound if you put, your classic working-class bogans into the zombie situation? And that's kind of I was sold on that moment, really, that it was just this really great idea of, I hadn't seen that really. I mean, you got your Shaun of the Dead, that's where the working class sort of side of it. And Edgar Wright did amazing work with that. But, we wanted to take our own spin, and Declan's script was just downright funny, and I'm excited to give it a go, and so that's what we did.
How were the roles cast?
Well, Declan always had in mind that we wanted to cast comedians, and so we actually went to the Melbourne Comedy Festival to meet with comedians and get a sense of who would be interested in the script. And deep down, he always wanted to meet with Shooter Williamson, who Alex, who plays our lead in the film. And when he read the script, he was pretty excited because he was looking for an on-screen role. And then from there, he knew Greg Fleet really well. And it just happened to be that Jim Jefferies was also kind of a contact of theirs as well. So it just sort of flowed on from there. But getting Jim Jefferies on the project, that was like, for me as a growing producer, a Canberra producer, to get someone of the caliber of Jim Jefferies was really exciting and really special to have him around and to have him as part of the film, because he's a comedy legend, and he continues to be, and even more so after the film, he just went bigger and bigger. I love to take credit for it, but I think he's just a really, really talented comedian, and to get all these Comedy Central shows now and his podcast, like, he's done amazing work to obviously keep growing from coming to small little Canberra for our little film. But it was definitely, we were lucky. We were very lucky. We had the right people. We knew the right people to talk to, and it just fell into place.
Dan, what was it like filming around Canberra? Is it a good place to shoot?
Oh, look, Canberra is one of the best places to shoot, and and I know a lot of outside crews will say, just because of obviously the lack of traffic, the how easy it is to get around, connecting with people who have special locations, and it's a great place to be a filmmaker. And I'm really excited that, 5 years ago, there wasn't very much happening. But if you look at all the different things that have occurred after Me and My Mates versus Zombie Apocalypse, the industry has just grown. It has grown that little bit more. You've had TV series from, obviously you've got Total Control, got The Code that's come through. You've had, there were other feature films, Joe Cinque's Consolation. You've got The Furies, and now there's another project, as many of your listeners might have realised, that's shooting around Canberra.
Yes,
it's really gone a long way since we were filming zombie extras out in the middle of the night during one summer 5 years ago, or even more actually. It would be 6.5 years ago, 7 years ago when we shot it. So the anniversary that's coming up is from the release.
Well, Daniel Sanguineti, can Me and My Mates versus the Zombie Apocalypse, can it take some credit for, paving the way for Canberra Noir?
Oh, look, I love taking credit. That's why I'm a filmmaker. But look, we've got such an eclectic group of filmmakers that originate from Canberra, and not all of them stay. Not all of them will stay. Some have to go and find elsewhere, but I'm one of the group has stuck around, and so I personally wouldn't take credit. I think it's always a group effort here.
So when you filmed the Zomcom, when you filmed the zombie apocalypse movie, whereabouts did you film it in Canberra? What were your locations?
Well, the main location was, if people who are listening right now remember the old police building that was in the middle of Civic, that was basically pulled down, I think, fairly recently, and a brand new building is kind of being put up there. That building was where we actually built our set inside. So everything internal on the film was shot inside that building, and we kind of built sets, and we created these intricate sort of pathways and things like that. And then the externals were at the Canberra Technology Park, where basically the Canberra's centre of film and TV and video games is. And we filmed in the car park, and we filmed around the grounds for the exteriors.
Daniel, half the struggle of getting these productions off the ground is funding. How did you get the funding for this film, 6 or 7 years ago?
It was probably one of the more challenging things that I've ever done as a filmmaker. The AC government did give us a portion of money, but a lot of it came from private investment, and also we did do a bit of crowdfunding, which really helped set the project up from the start. So having that crowdfunding showed that there was an audience, and we had record-breaking fundraising from that through the crowdfunding platform at the time, and that helped sort of build momentum for the project. And then we had a loyal fan base from day one, which has really helped the project move through the years, and still has people excited to want to see it for the first time or see it again.
So without giving any spoilers away in there, can you give us a rough idea of the plot of the film?
Yeah, look, the film is basically it's so relevant to 2020 right now. It's a group of mates who work together. They hunker down at their workplace in a telephone exchange. They're telecom workers, and basically try and sit out the zombie apocalypse. So a deadly pandemic that is, taking over the world, basically. And they play cricket, they drink beer, they talk and laugh, and they have a good time. But then obviously things are going to go wrong, as they always do. And they sort of had to learn a little bit about each other, and obviously what it means to be mates.
And Dan, I'm assuming that because you've produced this film, that you've had to do a decent amount of research into zombies. Can you tell us if Canberra is a good location for surviving a real zombie apocalypse?
I think so. We've got some good sort of high places to hide out. And I mean, look at the way that, COVID-19 stayed pretty much away from Canberra. We're in a bit of a bubble. I know us Canberrans, we tend to go, there's not really a bubble, but there is in some ways. We're pretty protected. We're far enough away from other places that we can isolate. We can control our entry points, which is great. And, I think in reality, if something was to go down like it does in the film, we would be lucky to be living in Canberra. That's what I feel.
Well, that's given me some comfort in what's been a rather difficult year, Dan. Thanks for that. You're on Afternoons on ABC Radio Canberra, and you're hearing from Dan Sanguineti, who is the co-producer of the 2015 film Me and My Mates versus the Zombie Apocalypse. 5 years later, it is having a special screening here in Canberra. Now, with the film, it was shortlisted for an international film festival, was it, Dan?
That's correct, yeah. We got into a couple of film festivals around, but probably the most prestigious was the Sitges Festival, the Fantasy Festival, which is set on the southern coastline of Spain. And our director, Declan, he got to go over and get to experience it. And even though, we didn't, the audience in that room didn't really understand the jokes so much, every time there was a kill or there was something on screen that was a little bit gory, a little bit bloody, they cheered and clapped, and they loved it. And
it's an international language, isn't it, gore?
That's right, which is such a huge contrast to audiences in Australia. We got to show the film across Australia through our sort of crowd-sourced cinema release. And what that meant was we got to see so many audiences laughing at the jokes and actually hearing how it plays out. It's almost like a comedy show that's on screen that's playing back to you, because the way that the script was written and the way that the actors take those jokes on, it really makes it for a great group watching experience. It's a movie to watch with your mate.
Yes.
It's simple as that, because it is a laugh out loud experience.
Dan, you've mentioned what some of the comedy team, what some of the actors have moved on to before. What about you? What have you been working on since then?
Look, I've been busy, as people who know me know that I've always got a project that I'm working on. This year itself, I've been became the Bus Stop Films Tutor, which is an organisation that helps filmmakers who have a disability to basically learn about filmmaking. And it's such
a fantastic project, Dan.
Yeah, and so we've been working on our own film this year, which we're very close to premiering in January, which is very exciting, a short film, which coupled with a behind-the-scenes documentary, and we're showing that at the Arc Cinema in a special sort of COVID-safe screening. And then we also have, it's going to be live streamed as part of Bus Stop Film Showcase for 2020, which is really fantastic. But I've been working on projects, as I briefly mentioned, there is a project shooting around Canberra at the moment, and I'm not allowed to talk much about it, but I am around, I am involved in it, and that's really exciting. But, I've got new horror films that are in the works, and, I'm hoping that once we get past this COVID-19 period, and things are starting to get a little bit more affordable and a little bit more easier to make films, that these projects will come to fruition. Oh,
we're looking forward to that as well, Dan. But in the short term, I'm thinking I can really recommend a bit of Zomcom screening for people who want a break from the Christmas cheer. Will this provide relief?
I hope so. I hope it will, it's some of the humour that might not be missing from some of the things this year. So, it's on this Friday. It's at Limelight Cinemas, obviously supporting a local cinema, and that, all our cinemas are doing it tough. It's at 6:30, and basically you can get tickets from not Limelight, but directly my website, sanguinetimedia.com.au, and that's, you can buy as many tickets as you would like. It'll be great to see, as many people there that can fit in the sort of reduced, seating plan that Limelight has given us.
Well, thank you so much for telling us about it, Dan. Best of luck with the screening and best of luck with your other productions that are on the go at the moment. It's been great catching up with you.
Thanks, Paul. It's been great catching up with you too.
That's Dan Sanguineti, who is a co-producer who's, works in film production, and he has a few projects on the go at the moment. He's talking about a film that was released in 2015. It was shot around Canberra. It's called Me and My Mates versus the Zombie Apocalypse. There's a special screening of it on this Friday at Limelight Cinemas, and you can find out more about getting tickets by going to the website, sanguinetimedia.com.au. I'll just spell that for you. So that's SANGUINETI, sanguinetimedia.com.au.